Hello and welcome everybody. It is time for me to take on some Dynasty Warriors 5 because it has been way too fucking long since I've played Dynasty Warriors 5 Special in particular. I've got my Japanese 360 controller here so that I can play this, the only Japanese Xbox 360 exclusive Muso title. Excuse me. Oh. Gonna have to drink some water. But welcome everybody. Hello Navir, Warrior Face, Sanyur, Decaying Reaver, Spindlehead. Welcome everybody. Hope you're all having a good start to the week. Yeah, I had a little bit of internet issues to start the stream off, but we're back to normal, so. Also, hello, Valentino. How's it going? Watch the stream while grinding the X weapons. 65, nice. I still need to go for all of those. I keep, lately, because all I want to do is play Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered. Lately, I've just been bouncing back and forth between a bunch of different Muso games. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't really stuck with any one game while I've been streaming. And as much as I do want to play through the story of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because that was what I was supposed to stream today, I don't know, I just have the itch to play more Muso. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I still have so many freaking stories to do. And then I need to fix the chat. There we go. There, that's better. They keep changing like little things with the design. I always have to, like, every so often make some sort of adjustment. Oh, excuse me. God damn. I need to get a good night's sleep. One of these nights. It's gonna happen. I swear. I think. Now, who do I want to play as is the other thing. Because I have so many characters still left to finish. Kind of tempted to do Taishitsu because he's one of my favorite characters, and the fact that he has not been finished yet is wild to me. So you know what? Fuck it. And we're playing on normal because I've got everybody's third weapon already, so don't need to worry too much about that. And of course, because we can't understand, well, because I can't understand Japanese, I'm not going to assume your guys' language capabilities. I am going to skip over most of the, like, conversation parts. And I'll just take her in. I'm going to use the alternate costume because I'm not on Wu's side just yet. I'll definitely do some streams in the future with this game and other Muso titles. Because, like, I've just been having a very ADHD moment with all of the gaming that I've been doing lately. Can't tell if the audio is being caught on my mic or not. Can you guys hear any sort of like echo or weirdness with the game audio. Thing with Strike Force is I only find it fun when I'm playing with people. Like when you're playing it alone, I don't know. I just find I would rather be playing Dynasty Warrior 6, like just by itself. I much prefer like having the whole map and stuff available. I do think it would be cool if they put out a Strike Force like nowadays on modern consoles that has like the full map and like a pretty decent story and not just like, I don't know, it's not the greatest like one player experience, and I think that's one of the things that would be really cool for a Strike Force 3 if they end up doing that at some point, if they made it so that like it was good for both a single player and a multiplayer experience. Sounds good? Perfect. Yeah, the servers are still up. I played a little bit with Lighty and Sword. Just gotta fucking figure out schedules and stuff. That's the tough part. Like trying to, as adults, trying to figure out when is a good day. Like scheduling a routine. Just in general with ADHD, but also with ADHD as an adult. Just doesn't fucking happen. I am playing on 360. I'm playing with a legit copy on a legit Japanese Xbox 360. I don't think I can do this. Like, that looks old, right? If you knew what the Blade like the theme looked like this Japanese Xbox 360 is so old it can't connect to the Wi-Fi. It's so old that it doesn't even recognize the adapter. It needs like a hardwired connection to get the update to use the fucking Wi-Fi adapter. And I just haven't done that yet. Partly because I do like the dashboard, and also because like I used to care about achievements. Now I don't. I just care about playing the goddamn games. Because I found I got too tied up in the achievements and trying to get every single one and being like, oh, well, if I have any missing, then, you know, shame on me. Now it's like, they're nice. I like the hit of dopamine they give, but I also just like having fun with the game. If you're in the Discord, Sanyard, I know there's a lot of people in there that have played the PC version and got it all set up. They might be able to help you. I have been able to play it on PC, but it just looks better playing it on 360. There are ways that you can get it to look close on PC. Really, the only issue with the Xbox 360 version is the resolution, because you're kind of locked at that 720p. But the textures and the lighting is just a little bit better, because I think the PC version uses the PS2 textures and the same lighting engine as Dynasty Warriors 4 Hyper, which is not bad. does look much better than the PS2 games. But this just looks that much better. Oh, nice. Welcome, Isaac. Hey, that's also understandable. Have you tried playing it through emulation? There's also a Dynasty Warriors mod server on Discord, and the people in there have done some really good work to make playing it through PCSX2 like so fucking good. Especially Dynasty Warriors 3. They definitely focused on Dynasty Warriors 3, but there's some mods out there for 4 and 5. Oh, excuse me. Who had the best story in 9? I feel like it... Okay, let me ask you this. Are you wondering, like, just in general? Or, is it specifically non-DLC? Because the DLC stories are the best part of Dynasty Warriors 9. I think, like, Joyu had a really good story. Shushu also had a really good one. Trying to remember all of the stories. I can't remember much about Salpees. I did like Chengong's, though. And Dongbai also had a surprisingly decent story for what could have been an easily throwaway character. And then Shahoji became the throwaway character. I think there is a English mod. I don't know if they've replaced the voices or just worked on the text for the PC version. I also feel like Koei wants to forget Dynasty Warriors 9 exists. Personally, I would like to see them put it on not only Switch 2, but PS5. I think a PS5 version would help with all of the updates that they've done. Like, just thinking about how Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires runs and looks on PS5, having the vanilla version of the game with that level of detail and frame rate, I think would be a good thing to help some people get back into the game, because I've been playing it a little bit lately. It's one of the games I've been going to get to, like, scratch that Muso itch while I wait for Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered to come out. And like, it's not as bad as it was near launch. Even like after the first few patches, it was still rough to play, but now it's pretty serviceable. And the biggest issue that it has is mostly in the voice acting and the character animations, especially during those conversations, because it's very static or very basic kind of RPG default movements. Like, everybody has the same sort of animations, where when you look at something like Dynasty Warriors Origins, they still have a lot of those similar movements and positions that people will hold while they're talking, but at least they make it varied. The movements don't just cue in when the line gets read. People are like, it's a lot more natural feeling. I've been meaning to play through some of the other newcomers as well. Right now, I'm trying to play through Shahadun's story and just take my time with it. And that's one of the reasons why I've been enjoying Dynasty Warriors 9 more, is when I savor it and I plan a path between side mission A and side mission B. Like, I plan a path of like, I'm gonna get this cluster, I'm gonna go to this space, take that over, go back to this spot, go to this lookout. Like, I don't know, I just find planning it out that way is surprisingly adds a little bit more depth to the gameplay loop. I don't know, I find Dynasty Warriors 9 is best played when you consider it to be less of a Muso title and more like a crossover between Dynasty Warriors and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. I know October 1st feels so far away, but really it's only like a little over 2 months. I feel like I'm going to complain the entire time until the game comes out. But my God, it's going to be here before we even know it. I find I will get into the wing it mindset with Dynasty Warriors 9 once I complete a couple of stories, because I haven't even finished a single story in my PS4 save file. And the PC version just doesn't run as smoothly with my setup on max graphics. I can get it to run smoothly on lower graphics, but it's just easier to play on PS4 or PS5 playing the PS4 version. I would, and that's the other reason why I'd like for them to put out a PS5 version of Dynasty Warriors 9. I think between that and Samurai Warriors 5, those are like the two. And I'd probably even put Warriors Orochi 4 on the list that should get a PS5 version put out so that there's a native version of the game, even if all it does is increase the resolution and get us a good 60 frames per second. Though Warriors Orochi 3 also kind of needs a PS5 version, because the PS4 version playing it on a PS5 has really not the greatest stuttering issues. A PS5 version of Dynasty Warriors 7 would also be pretty cool to see. I don't know if I would play it a whole lot because I have my save file for the PC version, which is like, I put so many fucking hours into that. I almost have every character maxed out, so I don't really feel like restarting that. Oh, apparently I had already started Taishitsu's story. Oh well. And then I think Warriors All-Stars has a similar but not nearly as bad issue. I don't think it stutters nearly as much, but it still would be really nice to have like all of the PS4 games on PS5. I just know that it's not going to happen for some. Like, it's definitely not going to happen for Arslan. I don't think anyone is asking for a PS5 version of Arslan, except me. I would absolutely love that but I doubt it will ever happen. Just as much as I would love to see a sequel. But because the anime isn't going any further, I don't think the game is. Was kind of surprised, actually, to see Attack on Titan 3 get announced. I am glad that it's coming out, though. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to all of the Koei Tecmo games that are coming out. The new Atelier looks really good. Wolong 2, Attack on Titan 3, Dynasty Warriors Remastered 3, or Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered. I feel like there's other ones that I'm forgetting. I know they're putting out Wolong on Switch 2, and they already put Atelier Yumiya out on Switch 2. Which apparently the Switch 2 version of Atelier Yumiya has a lot of performance issues, so the team is working on a patch. So hopefully that comes out sooner rather than later. No, the Arslan anime stopped at season 3. And there hasn't been any news or anything like that about a season 4. The manga is still going, but the anime, I don't think it was as successful as they hoped it would have been. Oh, JR. I'm hoping. Is that it, or is it JR? Anyways, my overall feelings and expectations for Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered, I am hyped so much. It's all I can think about when it comes to Musou. That's why I can't just settle on one fucking Musou game to play right now. It's just been going back and forth between all of the best, and god damn it, I can't wait till it comes out. Once it comes out, it is going to be the game that I play over and over and over again. I am probably going to stream a bunch when it comes out, but my expectations are just that it'll be another Musou game. I'm not... Okay, I had a feeling it was like JR. But I have a feeling it's not going to be as amazing as like an actual new Musou game. Because like it is still technically a remaster, even though they're like remaking so many pieces of the game. They're still building off of the skeleton structure of Dynasty Warriors 3. So I'm not expecting it to feel like a wholly new game. I'm just kind of expecting it to be Dynasty Warriors 3, but brought into the modern kind of feel. Which, that's all I want. I'm excited for all of the new features. I'm definitely going to be playing it with more of the modern stuff. I'm not going to play a whole lot in classic mode, because some of the classic things are very much a part of the times, like not being able to get off your horse while you're running, the really awkward bow controls, not being able to pick up items while you're on a horse, things like that. But I'm glad that they put those options in the game so that people can, you know, get the experience that they want out of it. I kind of get into that mindset sometimes, Spindlehead, because I will very often be like, I should play this game. And then I don't. Like, earlier, I was originally thinking of streaming Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I want to work through the story of that to prepare for Revelation. But I'm still in such a Muso mood that earlier this morning I put it in the Discord. I'm kind of getting an itch to play Dynasty Warriors 9. So I think I'm going to stream that. And then as the day went on, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to play a classic. And I was listening to some of the Dynasty Warriors 5 soundtrack last night. While I was grinding away at stuff after my stream. So I kind of got into the mood of Dynasty Warriors 5. I also had a thought last night thinking, while I was listening to the Dynasty Warriors 5 soundtrack, I was like, you know what? We don't get as many of the synth heavy songs that we used to get in like Dynasty Warriors 3 and 5 specifically. Because they have gone for more of a orchestral rock sound for Dynasty Warriors, which I also absolutely love. I think Dynasty Warriors 9 has one of the best soundtracks, one of the most consistently good soundtracks for a game that is not as good as the soundtrack. Like, one of the reasons why I play Dynasty Warriors 9 is to experience the soundtrack, not necessarily the gameplay all the time. But the gameplay is also pretty fun. It can be, if you don't mind, like, shutting off your brain and just not minding that the combat itself is it's quite a bit more mindless than like your usual charge attack system. So Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2 on PS2 actually runs and looks surprisingly good for like a game that was released on Xbox 360 and then ported to PS2. Same with like Dynasty Warriors 6 does look pretty good, and they made some changes to it to make it look more like the classic games. Like, it doesn't have the lens flare and the bloom that the 360 version has. Excuse me, or like the PS3 version. But the PS2 version doesn't have swimming, so that can be a little weird if you're used to playing the modern releases. But what was I gonna say? It is really cool to be able to play Ma Chao, Yue Ying, Cao Pi, Zheng He, Tai Shitze, and Ling Tong with those movesets in a story. It just kind of fucking sucks we didn't get that on the HD consoles. I did notice that, Baxter. I wonder if those cutscenes will, like, if your costume will also appear in those cutscenes because of that. Oh, I can't fucking wait for the remastered. I want it so fucking bad. Hey, Dino Guts. My favorite Dynasty Warriors game of all time is Dynasty Warriors 8. Specifically Extreme Legends Complete Edition on PS4 being played on a PS5, because that is, without a doubt, one of the best experiences that you can have, like, in the whole franchise. There is so much to do in that game, especially if you have all the DLC, which I do, because of course I do. God, I was playing a little bit of that earlier this morning before work. I still have a lot to do to work towards my absolute completion of the game. I have the Platinum Trophy. I have it on PS4 and Vita and PS3. I'm even playing the game on Switch from time to time, though not as much as playing it on PS5. As far as like the classics go, 4 is my favorite, but I would say that 5 is the best game of the classics. Like 5 just has more variety, because 4 reuses a lot of stages, and like the story isn't as well told as it is in this game, but 4 has the vibes. The soundtrack is way better. I do like the overall art direction. I do prefer most of the Dynasty Warriors 4 costumes to Dynasty Warriors 5. Oh, nice. Yeah, I gotta say, when I finally got my hands on Dynasty Warriors 5 Special, like, I remember, like, growing up, seeing Dynasty Warriors 5 come out, finally get my hands on it, play the Extreme Legends, Destiny mode, and all of that fun stuff, and then seeing Special get announced and being like, oh, I have an Xbox 360. Oh, does this mean I'm going to be able to play one of the better games on, like, a modern console looking this good? And, like, nowadays, it doesn't look as good as it did back then, but it's still, like, so much better to play this on a 360 than it is on a PS2. The frame rate is really good on 360. The graphics look great. Having it in widescreen is also a plus. Do you have that one rare DLC for Dynasty Warriors 8? I don't have that DLC, unfortunately. I was able to get the Luling Chi Fox Girl outfit, which I believe that one was taken off of the PSN. I can't remember if the Mandarin gowns are there. Is Wang Yuanji's Atelier costume and Zhao Yun's Tokiden costume still on PSN? Oh, speaking of Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires on Xbox 360. So this is a fun story. My high school did a 24-hour famine. It's kind of like to raise awareness of, I forget exactly what it is. It's been a while since I was in high school, guys, so forgive me. But it was to raise awareness around something, and essentially, like, everybody stayed at the school overnight. Like, it was just like a giant slumber party where we would watch movies in the school cafeteria and play games in the gym and stuff like that. But me and my friends decided to bring the Xbox 360 and a TV to school, and we played Dynasty Warriors 5 Empires. There was just like a little corner with all of us sitting on a blanket, and the TV on the ground. It was a lot of fun. Oh, okay. That's good that they're still available. I always hate, like, time exclusive DLC. It's kind of understandable when it's a licensed IP or something along those lines. Oh yeah, we didn't eat anything for 24 hours, or at least that was what we were supposed to do. I think some people would eat. I think some people would eat something for breakfast before going to school, and then we wouldn't have anything until the next morning, where we would have this like really big breakfast. But there was always like juice and other things available to people to drink if they were taking part in the 24-hour famine. But the idea was that you wouldn't eat from like that breakfast until breakfast the next day. And I think like at least a quarter of the school would get involved in it. Because it was like to raise awareness. So I forget exactly what it was. If it was like to raise awareness about like families that can't afford food, or if it was like to raise awareness about starvation in third world countries and stuff like that. I forget the exact purpose of it, but I know it was for the awareness of a good cause. Like the worst timed DLC was the Samurai Warriors 1 costumes in Samurai Warriors 5. Those should not have been timed DLC. That should just be made available for everyone. Like, that is wild to me that that is exclusive content that you could only have downloaded during a short period of time. And not only that, there is no way to get it now. Like, they could just flick the switch and make it available for everybody. But they choose not to. And the only console that I have it downloaded on was the Xbox One. And that's the only one that I got it before it was removed from stores. So even though I now play it primarily on PC, I can't use those costumes. Yeah, and I also don't care if I have to pay for it. Like, I would pay the $5 to have those Samurai Warriors 1 costumes, even though it's only 2 fucking costumes. I just want it. Also, the fucking color swap outfits and the adult and young Nobunaga and Mitsuhide costumes that were pre-order exclusive. Just let me buy them. That's all I want, is to be able to buy them. Oh, you gotta know Shahodun is one of my tops. Doesn't matter what game it is, but in this game, he's a lot of fun. But for me, it was Shahodun, Machao, and I would always go back and forth between Taishisa and Ganning for my favorite Wu character. I do also like Lumang. Also, Tsuutsu is like so much fun in this game. The pre-order exclusives were like the swapped costume where like young Nobunaga would have older, like adult Nobunaga's costume, or adult Nobunaga having young Nobunaga's costume. And then there were color swaps where Nobunaga had the same color as Mitsuhide's costume and vice versa. And then Mitsuhide also had the young and old costume swaps. That's what I want. I want those costumes and the NHK drama costumes that were Japanese exclusive. Those ones never made it out of Japan. I liked Lumang for his moveset, but as far as like the character and personality, he really grew on me in Dynasty Warriors 7. That's where I was like, okay, no, this is a good, solid character. Because before it was just like, I like his moveset because he used the pike. Are you asking me for my kiss, marry, kill for Gunning, Lingtong, and Lumang, or are you saying that's your order? I do like that Lumang got a little bit more like camera time in Origins. I really am interested to see what they do with the whole story in whatever they decide the sequel to be called. So I would kiss Gunning, marry Lumang, and kill Lingtong. I'm not a big fan of Lingtong, but I feel like Lumang is the type of guy that would be like, let me take care of you. Here, I made you a home-cooked meal. Feel like Gunning would just not be a good partner. Oh, excuse me. Oh. I don't know if we'll never see her in the Origins style, because they've said that if they do a sequel to Origins, that it's going to be a trilogy, and I don't know if that trilogy will end at Wuchang Plains or if it'll end after that at some point, like whenever Jin unifies China or something. Hey, Yura. Also, speaking of Gunning and unspeakable things, his nips are back in Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered. We finally get nips again. It's just been very uncanny valley since, I think, Dynasty Warriors 7 might have been the first game with no nips, or was that... I don't think anybody had nips out or had the ability to have nips out in 6. I can't remember. I I don't know when they started, like, not having nipples in Dynasty Warriors. Oh man, I forgot Spirit of Sanada didn't have split screen. I should replay that at some point. I also hope we get, I hope we get the origin story to go past Wuzhong Plains, because I feel like we haven't had an opportunity to have that part of the story be told in a way that's like gripping and makes you want to know what's going on. Because while Dynasty Warriors 7 did a pretty good job of telling its story, it didn't make the post Wuzhong Plains stuff interesting. It was more about introducing the Jin characters and giving us an avenue to explore the characters, more so than like giving us an avenue to explore the Jin unification of China. But I think since a lot of the Jin characters are now very well established with 7, 8, and 9, I think we're going to, like, if they were to cover that part of the story in Origins, it's going to be so good, and it's going to make it more interesting. Because a lot of the stuff that, like, they have covered before in Warriors games that were just kind of like there because it had to be, like all the battles with Huang Zu and Liu Biao, especially with for Wu's story, but also some of the side stuff with Wei outside of fighting like the major battles with Yuan Shu, Yuan Shao, Liu Bei, Lu Bu, like all the other stuff that happens. I feel like Origins did a really good job of putting weight into every single battle that took place from a story perspective. And that's what I want for the post Wuzhong Plains story. I think they're like, we didn't think there was going to be enough to be in there for a full game with just going up to Chibi. So I imagine ending it at Fan Castle or Yiling would be a perfectly fine spot to end the story on. Those were just like what people have been talking about as the potential for like what makes the most amount of sense, because Fan Castle is the next battle, the next big battle where all three are like fighting on the same battlefield. Because Chibi was like the first big one where it was just the three. And then Fan Castle will be the next one. But then I think ending it at Yiling makes the most sense, with kind of like the climax being Fan Castle. The Yiling can just kind of be the next stage after the climax to like take us out of the story. And then whatever third part can kind of pick it up after that and take us into Jin, I think. I think that makes the most sense. But personally, I don't fucking care. I just want more. Oh man, I can't wait to... Oh no! I wasn't paying attention. I really can't wait until Dynasty Warriors 3 Remastered comes out. It's going to be so fucking weird to see the like modern day graphics and then hear the bad voice acting from the original. I still really hope that that's not going to be a detriment to... You know what? Fuck it. This is my stream. Have I played? I did play Gunning. Who else were people wanting to see? So I saw Gunning. Sun Shang Shang. I have not played through her story yet. I mean, either way, my biggest one, or my biggest hope is that it's successful. I just want it to be super successful so that we get more remasters. That's all I want. Oh wait, is that... I think that is the symbol for heavy. I think. But this is what I have equipped. That might be the symbol for light. Well, I'm just gonna have to hope that is light. And not heavy. Right? That's the big one for me is if we do get remasters of other games, getting something like Dynasty Warriors 5 or Samurai Warriors 2. There is a way to play this on PC. There is a PC version of the game, but it is in 4:3 aspect ratio. So that is unfortunate. It also uses the PS2 textures with the same kind of lighting engine that, or an enhanced version of the lighting engine from Dynasty Warriors 4 Hyper. So it doesn't have like the texture and the mapping of the 360 version, but it is still really good. You can get a better resolution out of it than you can with the 360 because that's capped at 720p. Oh, nice. I do need to play more of Dynasty Warriors 3 Plastic because I lost my save file like a while back when PCSX did an update. I lost all of my save files, and I've been primarily focused on Dynasty Warriors 4. I haven't played a lot of Dynasty Warriors 5 through emulation lately because if I want to play Dynasty Warriors 5, it's either going to be on 360 or on the PS2 with my freaking CRT back here. Because Dynasty Warriors 5 is one of those games that you don't need to mod it to have a good time. There are some mods that make it a little bit nicer of an experience from a modern perspective, but it is still really serviceable and really good playing it on like native hardware on the PS2 on a CRT. Would not recommend playing it on a flat screen with a PS2. Oh god, I hope they don't use AI. If they... I feel like they're just going to reuse lines from the base game. That's kind of what it sounded like when they showed it off in the trailer. I know somebody had said they heard like the battle grunts from Dynasty Warriors 4 in the trailer. I haven't gone back to listen to it and try to discern that. But somebody specifically said, yeah, you can hear Yuri Lowenthal as Sun Tzu at one point. I don't think Koei has used AI in any of their stuff. I know they did make an announcement that they are allowing an AI to use their stuff to like study it. But I've not seen any mention of them actually making use of AI in developing their games, which is good. I'd like for it to stay that way. Oh. It kind of looks like the stream's connection is not the greatest right now. Just checking my phone is not on the Wi-Fi. Okay. Hopefully it figures itself out. But God, this game had such good music too. I do still prefer Dynasty Warriors 4's sound and a lot of the more modern stuff. Like, I love Dynasty Warriors 8, 9, and Origins. 7 is kind of there, but like I feel like 8 definitely overtakes it. And then 9 is even better than 8, and Origins is even better than that. Because, like, I just love the soundscape that they do for those games. Like, the soundtracks for Dynasty Warriors 3, 5, and 6 feel like evolutions on each other, while 4, 7, 8, 9, and Origins were the evolution of that. Like, you kind of get two different styles or two different subgenres when you are looking at a potential Dynasty Warriors soundtrack. It's either this very raw sounding soundtrack with like real instruments being used, even if it's being put through post-processing. It's made to sound raw. And then you have something like Dynasty Warriors 3, 5, and 6 that use drum machines and synthesizers and stuff like that to mix like a lot of like techno, drum and bass. Sometimes there's this really cool like prog rock sound when they bring out the synthesizers. But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of the soundtracks lately. I actually just created a soundtrack on Spotify called Dynasty Warriors in Order. And it is all of the soundtracks in order of release. So I plan to listen to that at some point, because it's always really cool to me to hear the evolution of somebody's sound. Like, I did that with Linkin Park earlier in the year, where I listened to Hybrid Theory, then Reanimation, then Meteora, Minutes to Midnight, Thousand Suns, Living Things, Hunting Party, One More Light, and then From Zero. And I listened to them in their entirety without any skipping from start to finish in the order that they released in. And hearing that evolution of sound was so fucking cool. Like, I listened to Linkin Park since Hybrid Theory came out, but I experienced each album when it released. So I didn't quite have that context as you're listening through to hear the evolution of where they're taking things. Because, like, you can hear bits and pieces of what would become the sound in Meteora from Hybrid Theory, but you really hear some of the potential sounds from Minutes to Midnight in Meteora, because, like, Hybrid Theory is, from start to finish, a nu metal industrial mixture, while Meteora has that kind of sound, but the industrial is put a little bit more on the back, while some more rock oriented sounds are coming out. Like Faint and Breaking the Habit were just so much more rock than they were nu metal, but they still had stuff like From the Inside, Lying From You, and songs like that that kind of maintained that nu metal sound. And then from there you had songs on Minutes to Midnight that kind of had that similar sound to what we would end up getting on A Thousand Suns, like Shadow of the Day and The Little Things Give You Away, or Valentine's Day. I would personally prefer a Dynasty Warriors 4 remaster to 5, because 4, much like 3, needs the remaster. 5 is still so much fun to go back to and play. 4 is still barely rough around the edges. Like, at least with 5, you don't have the combo lock on, but with 4, you still do if you want to go back and play the original. Plus, if you're not going to update the soundtrack or the voice acting, 4 is still really good for its voice acting and its soundtrack. Like, they would still sound perfectly fine with modern day graphics. 3, not so much. Soundtrack wise, it's fine. I would really like to hear them kind of re-record the songs from Dynasty Warriors 3 with the new sound that they have from, like, at least Dynasty Warriors 8. Because if you go and listen to the Dynasty Warriors 8 remix for Arena or Welcome to China, they have a couple of other really good ones, but they are so good. And it'd be really cool to have that, like, modern, raw rock sound for songs that are, like, primarily focused on that, like, techno-y kind of sound. Like, I'm thinking of a song like Superior. How would they do that if they were primarily using, like, rock instruments, using a more raw production? Oh yeah, 4 is one of the funnest. Like, that's why I keep saying 4 has the best vibe of all of the classics. 5 is the better game if we're thinking about, like, replayability and variety of stages, the story, the amount of characters. Every character feels, like, very unique, even if they are built off of the same, like, base move set, like Sun Jian, Liu Bei, Sun Quan, Dong Zhuo, Yuan Shao. They all have the same base move set. Arena is also another good, great song. But, like, Dynasty Warriors 5 has some great songs too, and I remember just, like, not liking the soundtrack nearly as much as other Warriors games because, I don't know, it focused a lot more on that, like, it wasn't as raw in its feeling, which is something that I tend to prefer in my rock and metal. Even though, like, I also really like cyber metal. So that's also weird that, you know, specifically when it comes to Dynasty Warriors, I have that preference. But I've been appreciating the more bombastic techno and drum and bass focused songs. Especially, like, some of the songs from Dynasty Warriors 6. I keep forgetting how good of a soundtrack that game has. That's another game that I do need to play some more of because I do have the PC version and I have so many characters to still max out. I've stories to finish. I still need to get fucking red hair. I think Origins had the peak story, but 7 is definitely a close second. And then 8 is probably the step behind that. 9 would have been up there if the voice acting was good. Because, like, they tell a really deep story with Dynasty Warriors 9. They go into detail with the story. It's just that it is so fucking boring. It is not written in a way that, like, makes you go, ooh, I want to find out what happens next. It's just, it's very factual in its writing. So it feels very much like we're trying to be as historically accurate as possible using these very anime-y designed characters. Excuse me. I think the main reason why they haven't added Liu Hua is because he doesn't really do much. Like, I looked him up and he hasn't done anything of like major note compared to most of the other characters that have been made playable. Even though, technically speaking, you could say the same thing about most of the fictional characters. So it's not like they couldn't do something with him, but he is very much the warrior that's just always present. He's always there. It's just that he doesn't really do much of note. Like, he's good at what he does. He survives every time. Trying to think. He's like the guitarist from Rush. I forget his name, but I always remember Geddy Lee and Neil Peart. But for some reason, and like, he's a good guitarist too. He is extremely skilled, but then you've got people like Geddy Lee and Neil Peart who are such masters of their instrument, and like, they play instruments that aren't usually put at the forefront as like, oh, you know, you gotta watch these guys. Usually it's the guitarist, but yeah, I feel like Liu Hua is in the same boat, where he's just surrounded by other people who just shine a little bit more, but he's just always there. Alex Lifeson. See, even hearing that name, I'm like, is that him? But yeah, that's who I would like equate his presence in the story of the Three Kingdoms. He's there for a lot of it. He just doesn't really shine as much as the other warriors around him. Oh yeah, they could definitely give us something. Oh, I need to play more co-op. Also, hello, Bianca. You just woke up from a nap and I'm ready for one. I forgot hitting start and select doesn't work on the 360. I'm gonna switch up my character. Ooh. Since I died, or since I let Sun Quan die as Taishitsu, I might as well just start having some fun and playing as any character I feel like it. The fun part about having a conversation about who's your favorite character, like, I have my obvious picks, but I like everyone to a certain extent. Like, really the only ones that I dislike are Bao Sanyang and Shahoji. Like, I'm trying to think. Is there anyone else? Because they're also both Shu characters. And it's not because they're Shu, it's just that they have no importance to the story. I feel like Bao Sanyang's only personality being that she loves Guan Suo is a detriment to her. But also, like, Guan Suo not having a part of his personality be connected to Bao Sanyang, I feel, is playing into that detriment. Because if they were both lovey-dovey with each other, I think that would be a better character dynamic than she's lovey-dovey, but she's also fictional, so she doesn't really interact with Guan Suo a whole lot. It's just that she randomly will be like, I'm here and I love Guan Suo, and that's it. That's all she does. And that's fine if that's what you're going to be, but just give me a little bit more. Have her do something other than, you know, go on about Guan Suo. And then Shahoji is just like, she's there. She could have been so much better. Also, fun story about Guan Suo. Can I reach it? This is my copy of Dynasty Warriors 7 on 360, signed by Spike Spencer, the voice actor for Guan Suo. I got to have a beer with him at Animaritime. Excuse me. Which was hilarious. I got to see him before the opening ceremonies. I think both of us were running late to the opening ceremonies. And we were in the hallway. I was like, hey, I didn't know the opening ceremony was happening. I asked him if he would mind signing a couple things. He was like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm a little late to the opening ceremonies, but I don't mind signing a couple of things. So he signed that and my Tales of Vesperia. But I remember handing him Tales of Vesperia first and being like, oh, this was a good game. And then I handed him Dynasty Warriors and he was like, I forgot I was in this. And then during the opening ceremony, he was like, you might know me from Evangelion, and then everybody cheered, and then he was like, or Blaze Blue, and everybody cheered, and then he looked at me and was like, Dynasty Warriors, and then like 5 people cheered. Oh. And that was before 7 Extreme Legends even came out. So that was his first foray into the Musou franchise. And so far, the only voice actors I've been able to meet and get autographs for that are in Musou titles are Spike Spencer on Dynasty Warriors 7 and John Eric Bentley, who voiced a character in Three Hopes, which I do have that signed. Yeah, I forget. Is it a it's not Arachne, I don't think. I imagine somebody in the chat will know. I did end up finding a copy of Blaze Blue while I was at the convention, so I ended up buying that and getting it signed by Spike. So I've got three games signed by Spike. I've got I've got 3 games signed by John Eric Bentley. The voice starts off very ada ada and then eventually becomes the like gruff. I have always really enjoyed Jurong. Oh, we absolutely love John Eric Bentley. He's such a sweetheart. Such a nice guy. Like, at the Atlantic Entertainment Expo in Fredericton, he was going around to all the different artists, catching up with them. Like, he remembered me from the first AEX in Charlottetown that he was at. That's where I got my copy of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 signed by him. And he was so excited to see that game physically in front of him that he was like, okay, usually whenever somebody gets a signature, I give them a picture, but I'm going to give you a video because this is insane that I'm seeing this game. I've been in this game. I voiced in this game, and this is one of the first times I'm seeing the physical copy in front of me. So yeah, like, he's such a good guy, and I can't wait for Revelation to come out. I hope John Eric Bentley comes to another Atlantic Entertainment Expo because I feel like I've committed blasphemy by meeting John Eric Bentley, the voice of Barrett in the remake. I've met him twice, and it was after the second time that I first played Final Fantasy VII Remake. At the second time that I met him, I bought an original art print, or not a print, but like an original art piece of Barrett that was done in marker, and got him to sign that. But I could have got my copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth signed. Who knows? Maybe AEX will get him again after Revelation comes out. And then I'll be like, can you sign all 3 of these? I've finally played them. You know what? Now that you've mentioned Zhonghui being your favorite Jin character, Bianca, I've never thought of who my favorite Jin character is. Because, like, Deng Ai is really good. So is Sima Zhao. Like, I do really like Zheng Chunhua. But then Jia Chong is also really cool. I love his moveset in Dynasty Warriors 8. And then there's Wen Yang. Oh, the OG Final Fantasy VII is... It's not the best. It's definitely of its time. There are some choices made in that game's development. Like, I tried to play through it because the producer of the remakes was like, make sure you play through the original so that you're prepared for the final part. So I started it, and I got to the point where you need to catch a chocobo to go over the marsh. And I cannot, for the life of me, catch a chocobo. Like, you need to send, like, you have to throw out the gristle greens before it runs away. And because of the ATB system, like, having to wait for my turn, by the time my turn comes around, it runs away. Or I throw out the greens and it doesn't fucking work. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. I tried looking it up and following a guide, and that didn't help. So I stopped. So I was like, well, if I'm going to waste my time doing this, I might as well play the remake. Hey, no worries, no name. I'm doing not too bad. A little on the tired side, but when is that any different? Just enjoying some Dynasty Warriors 5. Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll go back to 7. I remember being able to get the chocobo when I was a kid. Because I made it past the second disc. I don't think I made it too far into the third disc. So Revelation is going to be a lot of new stuff to me. But I think because I rented Final Fantasy VII a lot, I would restart it every so often because I always tried to keep save file space for the stuff that I owned. And, you know, back in the day, if you only had one memory card, you would have to pick and choose what you kept as your save files. But I would always be like, oh, but Final Fantasy VII was so much fun. I want to rent it again. Forgetting that I had to delete it so that I could play, I don't know, Crash Team Racing. Yeah, if I get back to playing the original Final Fantasy VII, I am not going to go for 100% completion. I am just going to go for the story, and that is it. I don't care about the minigames for that purpose. For the remake, oh, give me all the fucking minigames. I will play them till, like, I've won every single fucking reward that minigame has to offer. One of the things I like to always throw out is like, back in my day, we used to play video games on a screen this big off of 4 AA batteries.
and we only had 2 colors. Green and darker green.
Unless you were rich and you had a Sega Game Gear, then you had to use 6 AA batteries, but you got a backlight. I know I also showed a Game Boy Color and was describing a Game Boy Original, but I don't have a Game Boy Original within arm's reach right now. Oh, the remakes are so much fun. No Name, you are going to love them. And Rebirth is just that much better than Remake. In every single way, it is better than the first part. And that is, to me, that's the impressive thing, is that they were able to improve while also still continuing on the story. And it's just Dynasty, or it's just Final Fantasy VII Remake, but better. So that's kind of what I'm expecting from Revelation. It's just going to be Rebirth, but better, which was just Remake, but better. I remember, speaking of the Game Gear, I forget what it was that we were sitting out. We went to a midnight launch, and I can't remember if it was for Skyrim or Halo 4. It was one of them, but we were at the midnight launch at EB Games. We were in line, and everybody was there, like, wanting this brand new game, and I was there playing my Game Gear, waiting in line, and like some people were huddling around watching me play because they were like, "Oh my god, I've never seen a Game Gear, or I've never seen somebody with a Game Gear." I actually found the Game Gear on, I want to say, like, Kijiji or something like that. It was this old woman who invited me and Chelsea in for tea, and she sold us 2. Actually, I wonder if I have the case somewhere. Had to remember where it was. But I got this carrying case. This hefty carrying case, mind you. Has a little pouch for whatever reason. But there's the Game Gear. It has space for a bunch of these Game Gear cases, kind of similar to what Game Boy would have. Have space for your AC adapter. You got a shoulder harness. There's your Game Gear. But You also have a like in the top flap, you have parts to put a bunch of Game Gear cartridges. But underneath this, so when we walked out of this old woman's house, not only did we buy a carrying case for the Sega Game Gear, the console itself, and I want to say about a dozen Game Gear games. We got 2 Game Gears. That's a dozen AA batteries worth right there. Where did I put my controller? Oh. Oh, and this old woman was also like super nice. It was actually nice to sit down and have tea with her. Like, she told us that that was her son's old Game Gear, and like they weren't like wealthy, but they were wealthy enough to be able to afford a second one when the first Game Gear started to fail, because like one of those Game Gears doesn't produce sound for some reason. I don't know what broke or how it broke, but it's been that way for a while. Like before we even bought, before we bought them, because that's why they have 2. They just decided to use both for like multiplayer games and stuff like that. So it's not like she accidentally sold us 2 Game Gear games or 2 Game Gear consoles. That was her full intention. And we went there initially just being like, we're just going to buy the one, because it was $40 for both of those, plus the carrying case and like the dozen or so games that she gave, like that she put in with that. $40. You would not find that listed for $40 now. Like, that would probably be like $150, $200 if you saw that nowadays. I did end up selling a lot of the Game Gear games because they were mostly like sports or things like Little Caesar and stuff like that, but I still kept I kept a bunch of them and made custom cases. You know what? This will be worth destroying the chat over. So these are all of my Sega Game Gear games, and I made these custom cases. I might need to turn the light off, actually, for you guys to see it better. But these are my North American games, and I did my best to make the spines and the covers look like the original kind of like Game Gear template, though the actual cover art might be a little different than what they originally were, because I wanted them to be high quality enough to print. So like, of course I had to get columns. To me, this is actually better than Tetris. And I did my best to always take the back of the game straight from the box. I got Hook because the movie was great, and it was one of the games that was in the lot with the two Game Gears. Plus, I have the manual. So, of course, if I have the manual and the game, I have to make a custom case to keep them all together. Ren and Stimpy, just because. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic Triple Trouble. Of course, all in these custom cases. And I forget which one. Is it Sonic 2? Yes. Sonic 2 not only has the manual, but also like a pamphlet / poster and the instruction manual for the actual Game Gear. And then just because it's stupid to have this on the Game Gear, but it's so cool, Virtua Fighter, the animated series. But that's not all. I also bought a lot off of eBay of Japanese Game Gear games. So I've got Samurai Spirits or Samurai Showdown, Bare Knuckle or Streets of Rage, and the most important one, Sailor Moon. And I did my best to make these look closer to the Japanese Game Gear template as opposed to like these ones. And I've got these ones in red DVD cases so that they match the spine. I've got these in purple DVD cases, though you can see I've got a mix of shades. These more cooler purple is like the Kinect from the 360, while these more warmer purples that actually match a little bit better. This is Never Say Never by Justin Bieber. So I have had to buy 3 copies of Never Say Never by Justin Bieber. All right, thanks for coming out, Bianca. Now I gotta fix the chat. There we go. Man, Mega Man on Game Gear would be kind of fun, not gonna lie. Yeah, I've done some things for some of the game cases. I have like a CD album thing. Like this. We got one of these things for all of those DVDs that I ended up buying but using the case for. So I somewhere in this apartment, unless I've taken them to Value Village already, somewhere in this apartment are 3 copies of Never Say Never by Justin Bieber. Is this Jurong's last stage for her story? Also, what game has everyone's favorite Nanman theme? Personally, at least so far, my favorite Nanman theme is Dynasty Warriors 9. That one is such a bop, man. It slaps so hard. And usually I don't like the non-rock songs in the soundtracks. Like, I'm not a big fan of this one. It's not bad. Like, it's a pretty decent song to have on in the background, just as background music. But as far as a Muso soundtrack, it doesn't hit. But Dynasty Warriors 9, ooh. Oh, that, like, tribal beat with the, that melody, that, like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. I forget exactly how it goes, like, trying to think off the top of my head. But I just know that, dun-dun-dun. And I forget what instrument it is. It sounds like that one where, like, the strings are, like, horizontal and you're using mallets on the strings. I forget what that instrument is called, but, like, it has that sort of sound to it. Like, it sounds like a rock song, but they're using a lot of tribal sounding instruments and percussion and stuff. Oh, it's so good. I wasn't too big of a fan of the Dynasty Warriors 4 Nanman theme. I kind of considered it similar in a sense to the Yellow Turban theme in Dynasty Warriors 4. It just does not sound Dynasty Warriors-y enough, but it definitely sounds more Dynasty Warriors-y than the Yellow Turban. It's not a xylophone because it's got the strings and you're hitting the strings with some sort of mallet. I think it's like a wooden mallet. Like wood all the way through. It's not just like a piece of wood with some sort of string or yarn. Maybe a glockenspiel? I'm gonna actually have to look. Glockenspiel. No. It's like a xylophone with strings. A dulcimer? I just put it in the chat in case anyone wants to look it up to see what it's like. Yeah, a glockenspiel is kind of like a xylophone, except it's like wooden, like curved wooden things. But the Nanman theme in Dynasty Warriors 9 sounds like whatever instrument they're using sounds like it could be a dulcimer. If that's how it's pronounced. Hopefully that is. I've never heard the name of the instrument either. I've seen the instrument used before, but I've never heard the name.
Oh, excuse me.
Now I know what I'm going to be doing after this stream. First of all, Chelsea and I need to finish the episode of Taskmaster New Zealand that we're on. Because we're all caught up on the British series. Now we're on to the New Zealand. We started season 3 of the New Zealand series. And then once we're done with New Zealand, then we're going to move on to Australia. And I think there's a German Taskmaster, and I don't know if it's in English. I think there's also a Swedish Taskmaster. Speaking of which, if you've never watched Taskmaster, highly recommend. It's on YouTube. Like all 21 seasons of the British, all 6 seasons of the New Zealand. I think there's 3 or 4 seasons of Australia and at least 1 season of German and Swedish. So you've got a lot to watch if you've never watched Taskmaster before. And they do get some pretty good names on the show. Jason Mantzoukas was on 1 season. Kamal Nanjiani. Oh my god, I forget his name, but he's a British comedian that has done a lot of like TikTok stuff. Ooh, I like that. Nice little fact. They made the instrument, was like, let's call it, it sounds nice. Oh. Now you got me curious about the etymology for some of these other instruments, like a theremin. How did a theremin get to be called a theremin? Also, if you've never seen what a theremin is or how it's played, check it out. It's like one of the first fully electric instruments, and it uses like the electromagnetic wavelengths, or I don't even know how to describe it, but it uses electricity from your body to emit the sound. It's got like a rod that sticks out of a wooden thing, and then like a loop, a metal loop. And when you put your hand in the loop, the sound stops. When you take it out of the loop, the sound keeps going. The closer your hand is to the rod, the higher the pitch. So, like, if you've heard the Doctor Who theme, that uses a theremin. There's a YouTuber called Rob Scallon, and he does like metal with a bunch of different non-metal instruments. Like he did metal using a harp. I think he did metal with a piano, with a sitar, and he did one with a theremin. But theremins are so fucking cool. You've also starting to trigger my music nerd brain. Because I was one of those band nerds growing up. Played trumpet in high school. Dropped it the moment that I could. Because I mainly stuck with the trumpet because my parents were like, that's the only way we're going to buy you a guitar, is if you stick with your trumpet and you do good. So, I pushed myself for most of my like middle school and high school experience with the trumpet, I was not good. And then when my parents were like, we'll get you an acoustic guitar if you continue through with the trumpet into high school, and then they were like, if you do really good, like if you bring your grades up in band, we'll get you an electric. So I pushed myself, and I was able to be the only one in our high school band to hit I think it was a high C. I think it was a C. I'm trying to think. It was one of those notes that's above the bar. And then once I got my electric guitar, I started to learn a little bit more. Joined the jazz and show band for school as the guitarist. Was never overly good guitarist. Like I couldn't freestyle a solo. I was never that good. I was definitely more of a rhythm guitarist. And even then, I never really learned music theory. I just learned this is how a riff progression can sound good. So like even now, I will write I could write a pretty groovy riff for like a rhythm section, but I would not be able to tell you any of the notes or chords that I'm using. Like I have music on Spotify and I don't know. I would be able to be like, yeah, that's an A7 or an A minor. I don't know. It's maybe a sustained 7th or 5th something. It's definitely A minor. Beyond that, I don't know. Because I know the A minor fingering, but then I would like lift one finger up or like have my pinky on another string. Like I alter the basic chord, and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds good. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but it sounds good. Yeah, that's the thing that like always gets to me, because like I know if you want to actually write music for a living, having that music theory is super helpful, but my god, it was not taught to us a lot in class. We mostly focused on like performing as opposed to like learning the theory. And apparently that is a major thing with my high school, is they focused a lot more on the performance. So like my high school tended to have the best performers, while another high school would have the better like songwriters. And it's not to say that my school didn't have really good songwriters that understood and knew music theory. It's just that they did it on the side. They did it proactively themselves. Yeah, I think I'd be able to remember like where on the music bar each note would be. Like an A would be there, and G would be there, kind of thing. I'd be able to remember that. Because if I remember correctly, like D is on the very, like, it's the note that is in the middle of the bottom line. I think. Unless D is the one below that, and then E is the one on the line. think. I at least know the basic chords on a guitar. If I have just a 6-string guitar and you're like, hey, play a G, gotcha. Play a C, gotcha. I know that at least. And then what I do if I were to write music now, I would just be like, okay, this is a C. If I put my pinky here and change the chord a little bit, it still sounds good. How can I use this? What's another chord that, you know, maybe I can use a basic chord with this altered chord kind of thing. Yes, I realized that I was saying A minor. Oh, nice. I don't quite have perfect pitch. Like, I'd be able to get there, but I wouldn't be able to hit it right off the bat kind of thing. I would always have to be like, you play a chord and then I would be like, there we go. Like, one of the things that I have not done in a very long time, because I used to sing along to the CDs that I had that I would know the words to the songs, or I had a playlist of songs that I knew the words to, and I would sing along to that. But now I have a playlist of instrumental versions of songs that I know the words to. And that's primarily what I use as my practice for singing. But I used to do a lot of harmonies, like trying to harmonize and play around with harmonies. I haven't done that in a long time. So I feel like if I were to write new music now, trying to do harmonies, singing would not be, definitely wouldn't be good. It would take a lot of experimenting. I'm in the same boat, Demonic Boobs. That's why I have that playlist of instrumental songs to sing along to when I'm in the car, because that's like the only time I sing. But I can do the harsh screaming. I've been practicing it since high school, and I definitely did not start doing it the healthy way. But the big thing is, as long as you know when to stop, that's the important thing. Sometimes I don't know when to stop even now. But at least now I do the scream in a more healthy way for the vocals, so that at least, you know, if I do it too much, it's more that my throat gets sore, not necessarily that I'm like really damaging my vocal cords.
やっぱりこれが一番さね。
Yeah, I also find like with my voice, because I don't know, I just naturally project it. Like back when I used the snowball microphone, I used to have it all the way out here. Now I've got it up here. I'm not projecting as much, but I still have a very projected voice when I talk. I always joke at work, I have 3 settings. I have 3 volume settings, 0, 10, or 11. That's it. I have no in between. Let's see who else I had starting. Oh, wow. Yeah, my voice has gotten a little deeper since I started making videos. Like, if you listen to some of my older stuff, you can hear it's a lot higher, but it was also me just kind of having a bit of a higher voice. Like, just, that's kind of what my performance voice was. But I didn't talk, like, down here a whole lot when I was younger. But apparently that is also a very natural thing. Like, a lot of men will go through almost like a second puberty with their voice. I forget who it was. There was another streamer kind of talking about it because he had a similar experience. Oh, I've never seen, well, I shouldn't say I've never seen. I haven't seen many Dynasty Warriors YouTube poops. I have seen the one where it's Lubu just going boo, 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 boo. Yeah, I have noticed, like, since my voice has been, like, settling into what it is now, I don't quite have as much control over it as I used to. Like, I can still sing, but I don't have that same sort of range in sounds, if that makes sense. And it could just be, you know, practice, because I mostly sing along to, like, new metal and alternative kind of stuff. So that's what, like, I don't have that muscle to sing along to, like, Judas Priest as much anymore. Hitting those high notes is it is rough at times. But I know, like, the range in my chest voice has gotten better. Like, there's always that one note when you're going between your chest voice and your head voice that a lot of people kind of, like, hiccup on. And I know I have that note, but I know that note has gotten higher since I started, even though, like, even when I go into my head voice, I can't quite go as high as I used to. I'll have to check them out. I was never really big into YouTube poops, but it was one of those things where, like, if somebody showed them to me, I would always find them entertaining. I just never seeked more of them out. Like, I wonder, can I share something easily? The easy, whether it's easy, is going to be the big thing. Where is it? Is this link going to work? If you want to hear me singing, this is an unlisted song, so it's not public because it's a cover, and I'm not going to try to, you know, I'm not going to play around with copyrights. But I tried doing a vocal cover of a song called Brother by, is it Dark New Day or... Yeah, Dark New Day. And that's, I think, the bridge part into the final chorus. So that'll give you kind of an example. And that's an older recording too, before I got this mic. But if anybody wants to see what I sound like now compared to what my Spotify stuff is like. Yeah, that's that screaming that I've been really practicing and learning how, like, what is the most comfortable scream for me. Because I'm not a, like, high-pitched screamer. I am definitely that more, like, guttural kind of sound. I'm more the normal Slipknot sound and not the Volume 3, whatever may come. That Stone Sour album. Where he, like... For some reason, Corey was like, yeah, let's do high-pitched screams here. Even he was like, I don't know why I chose to do that. I was in the middle of getting sober, so, you know... making weird choices. I do wish that I could do both, because I like a lot of bands that are able to do both, like Killswitch Engage, All That Remains. Devin Townsend is a big one. God, I love his... just... all of his stuff is so good. But, like, Devin Townsend, Killswitch Engage, All That Remains, those sort of bands do both, like, so well. Though I think Phil Labonte from All That Remains has said that his range now isn't quite what it used to be, because, you know, he's had that damage. And I know what's his name, the singer from Nothing More, has also had the same sort of experience. Like, songs like Don't Stop by Nothing More fucking kill the vocals, man. Like, me trying to sing any new Linkin Park with Emily's voice, no. I can do it, it's just not going to sound good and it's not going to be healthy for me to do it. So I try to stay away from it, though every now and then I do like singing Emptiness Machine. That's a little bit easier on the throat, at least. It's mostly that, like, first little bit that, let you cut me open. That, like, higher pitched. I'm not going to do it now because if I want that, like, rough vocal, I get loud. And it is currently 10 after 9. Yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Linkin Park lately, and just the control that Chester and Emily both have with their vocals is so good. Oh my god, trying to remember all the other bands that I have been listening to now that have been really, really good. Like Dark New Day is another good one. Seven Dust. I mean, Corey Taylor is always great. Been getting a little bit more into Nevermore. And then going back and listening to other things like 9 Inch Nails. They were a band that I always enjoyed what they put out, but I never looked for more. Void Chapter is another really good project that is, like, it fits into that cyber metal side of things. I also enjoy Nightwish and, like, that operatic symphonic metal. But I was definitely more on the raw side. Like, I definitely, well, nu metal is my subgenre of choice. I will always have a special place in my heart for that nu metal sound, like Linkin Park, Mudvayne, Seven Dust, that, like, second or third wave of nu metal where they started to incorporate more post-grunge stuff. If you've never heard of the band but really like bands like Linkin Park, Seven Dust, Mudvayne, Deftones, not quite so much Deftones, but like maybe System of a Down, Korn, like that sort of vibe, check out the band Dry Cell. They are not on Spotify. Well, they only have one song on Spotify, and that's because it was on the Queen of the Damned soundtrack. And it was Body Crumbles, which I originally found it on LimeWire thinking it was a Linkin Park demo because their singer, James Goot, he sounds a lot like Chester. Or no, Jeff Goot. He ended up, so the band put out this album, Disconnected, and it is such a fucking great album. Like, such a great nu metal album. They have, it's hard to describe because, like, The drums, the bass, the guitar, the vocals, the backing vocals are so good. The best song that they did, in my opinion, it's the first song off of Disconnected. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Oh my god. Slip Away. It was in the game Freak Style for PS2, GameCube. I don't know if it was on Xbox, but oh, it's so good. Anyways, the reason why that album is not on Spotify is because they were signed to Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers was trying to make them the next Linkin Park. And then I think it was the father of the drummer was going over their contract and was like, you guys are going to be making like pennies, practically nothing. You guys are going to be making next to nothing off of your album sales through Warner Brothers. So like, you need to dispute this. So they did, and they took it to court. They ended up winning the case, and then Warner Brothers dropped them. They took the albums out of all of the major retailers because all of this happened before the album was released. If the band had waited until after the album was released, they probably would have been a lot more well known, and probably would have been able to get another record deal through another record company, or at least been able to survive that whole ordeal. But unfortunately, because of that, the only place to buy their albums was on tour, and the only people that knew about them, because they weren't getting radio play, were from the odd appearance they had in a video game or movie, thanks to the label putting them in there before all of this shenanigans took place. So the band ended up breaking up, and Jeff Goot ended up going on America's Got Talent. The season that he first went on, he didn't make it through he made it through the first audition, but I don't think he made it through the second. But then he went on the year after that and ended up being the runner-up. And he experienced some success. Like, he was able to at least start making music as a living. It's just that he was probably just scraping by, maybe had a second job. But at least he was he was getting more recognition. But because of his performances on America's Got Talent, those performances, and especially his cover of Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen, ended up going to the guitarist for Stone Temple Pilot. And because of that, Jeff Goot is now the lead singer for Stone Temple Pilots, because Chester would not commit to being the vocalist. He would like go on tour with them. He did that little EP with them, but he was like, no, I am the singer of Linkin Park. If I'm going to be the front man of another band, it's just going to be like a one-off thing, like Dead by Sunrise. So, like, I've been following this guy since, like, I want to say maybe around 2015, give or take a few years. Because that's around the time where I was, like, looking up more new metal stuff that I hadn't heard of before, and that's where I found Seven Dust. And that's also how I found out that Body Crumbles demo that I thought was Linkin Park was actually Dry Cell. And it was even a demo for Dry Cell. It wasn't the original that was, or the album version that was going around LimeWire back in the day. So after that, I found a copy of Disconnected. I found a copy on eBay for $80. That's the most I've spent on a CD. But I bought it because I need to have all of those songs in a very high quality format so that when I'm driving, if I want to listen to Dry Cell, I have the CD. I would love for them to be on Spotify. At least the Jeff Good solo stuff and the Stone Temple Pilots stuff is on Spotify, so you can listen to that. But the only Dry Cell song that is on Spotify is Body Crumbles. Anyways, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Oh. Well, I set out to play through Taishitsu's story, and I ended up finishing Shu Huang and Ju Rong's story instead. God, these cutscenes look so much better on a CRT than they do on a modern monitor. Yeah, there is a TikTok account that has come up for me a couple of times that they do those sort of deep dives. Like they'll find one track and be like, oh, I want to research this, figure out who this is, and share it with all of you. I found a couple of really good songs, but through them, but because they're not on Spotify, like, I always forget about them. Thanks, Yoda. You can at least trust me to talk. But anyways, that is... Oh. That is not... Oh my god, I didn't realize that it did that. Whoops. Well, you guys got to see a little bit of me singing. If you want to actually hear what was just on screen, you can check out the link that I posted in the chat a little while back. That was me singing Brother by Dark New Day. Oh, God. Well, hopefully this doesn't get dinged. Fingers crossed. Thank you. Anyways, this is where the stream is going to come to a close because it's getting late. I got to work tomorrow. And we still have an episode of Taskmaster to finish before bed. But don't forget, the conversation doesn't have to end here along with the stream. You can also join the Discord server. There is a link in the description below, as well as a link to all of my social medias that you can follow me on almost anywhere, but I'm mostly active in the Discord, on Twitter, and on Blue Sky. You can also check out my music you can check it out on Spotify, or you can download it for free if you want the MP3s or WAVs, whatever they end up having on Bandcamp. There is a link to that as well. But you can also use my music in your TikToks, your Instagram Reels, and all that fun stuff. I've got instrumental stuff as well as singer-songwriter stuff on Spotify, so check that stuff out. And I don't know when or what I'll be streaming next, but I will see you all in the next stream.